upon a modern time in a little cul-de-sac. Black characters from myth and rhyme decided to come back. They moved into a cuter house, they bought a boat and car. They got a job, they got a spouse, they're ready to go far. This modern life, with all its strife, is wilder than before. You won't forget the day you met the fables next door. You won't forget the day you met the fables next door.
And ladies and gentlemen, Nick Phoenix.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I've got my applause people, and they're not. I am clicking all the wrong buttons tonight, and I finally figured out what it is that's caused me to do this. Like, I've been on this strict keto diet, no carbs, and all this good stuff. So I told you in the pre-show tonight, I made a baked salmon. I had the honey butter sauce all over it. Low carb diet with a glass of white wine. That might have. It's been a long time since I had a drink in a glass like that.
Well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants. I gotta say, distributing other people's comics certainly does pay the bills. When you're eating salmon and white wine, and you can afford to eat good. No wonder you look so healthy, sir. No wonder you've lost so much weight.
Let's not fool anybody here. I've got a pretty good day job that helps me with that. Plus, and
your side hustle's booming. Let's not cut hairs here.
Yes. This is an interesting interview for me here, because we've had shows with novelists before, and we've had people with comic book work before. This is the first time I've interviewed somebody who I had on the show before for comic book stuff, but he's decided to jump tracks and get on this novelist plan here.
I'm switching sides.
Why? What was it about Lost Kingdom, which, by the way, folks, is the name of the novel? The campaign below the link here, the video. What was it about Lost Kingdom that you said, yeah, you know what, too big, or it just doesn't work with pictures?
Well, I'm a very creative person at heart, and I'm a writer. And so as a writer in the comic book world, it comes with certain hurdles. Namely, I have to depend on other people to get my stuff done.
If you can't draw yourself,
I mean, I could, just no one would buy it because our drawing would be crap. I mean, there are webcomics with 6 figures. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think anyone would buy the comic if I drew it. Maybe my mother would, because my mother's awesome, but that's about it.
Nobody. I'm not drawing anything either. It's definitely not going to happen for me. Stick figures. I can maybe give Matt Feasel a run for his money, but I think he draws.
I started work on Lost Kingdom as kind of a diversifying my creative portfolio kind of thing, where I'm still doing the comics. That's not changing. But I also wanted to get into the novel work, because novels are at most a 2-person affair. You have yourself and your editor, and then maybe a cover artist. So I have basically full control over the story, its presentation. I don't have to work with an artist and then their interpretation of my words. This is my story, and it is how I want to tell it, and it's really interesting because novel writing and script writing definitely require 2 very different approaches.
Yes, yeah, you're going full narrative now, and not the script writing is more like a play. You stop, you change, you
agreed.
But
there's also space constraints that you have to deal with comic books, because a mistake that a lot of newbie writers make is they have their dialogue take up half the page.
Yeah.
As a writer, you have to kind of fight against your nature a bit to kind of cut down the dialogue to its essentials while still maintaining personality. With novels, you don't have that restriction, so I kind of had to relearn how to let myself go and just... I'm sorry, I was about to go full Disney on you, but...
Let the imagination soar.
Let it go!
Let it go! With novels, it does, yeah.
The prose doesn't bother me anyway.
And it just keeps flowing out, and people just keep turning pages, and all you have to worry about is, does your chapter end on something that's going to make them go to the next one. With comics, you have to be aware of when a page ends. You don't know when a page is going to end in a novel because it's going to get reformatted into hardcover, paperback, all that stuff. Usually,
Yeah,
so
yeah. And
with
the
a
other
comic
thing
book, you
is,
want each page to end on something that makes them turn the page. You got to
that's
control the
why
flow.
whenever you're talking to writers and they ask you like, "Oh, how long is your book?" They'll say, "Oh, it's something thousand words." They'll go by
Yes.
word count because page count is kind of an illusion. Uh, because you could have a rough approximation of how much your page is going to be, but page count is like how big is the type font, how much are you kerning, like is the font, like there's so many different ways you can like extend and bring back page count.
That's
um
like when I was a young programmer back in the late '80s. They used to measure how big a
Old.
by lines of code. Like, but what if you use a bunch of semicolons and put everything in one line? You could say it's one line of code with a million commands in it. So yeah, it's an iffy measurement.
Yeah.
That's how we do things in America. We don't use the metric system. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's why, like, even as far as the late 2010s, like, oh, this person, they wrote Flappy Bird into 15 lines of code, and if you look at it, it's like, you
Really
know,
long lines of code.
yeah, it's long lines.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad I don't code anymore.
I
That's
uh I took a few classes for programming, like intro to programming, C++. So I have an idea of how programming is done. I am in no way a programmer, but yeah, it's a pain.
you're just plotting an outcome, uh, which is just like writing. You know how you want it to end. You know where you want it to go. So, so with Lost Kingdom, there's a lot of approaches to novel interviews here that I'm trying to figure out which one I want to go with first. Uh,
We could
how
go into
much of it
real.
came to you at once? I mean, was it like what it would be like if this was going on? Did you know the whole story? Was this an Athena birthed from the brow of Zeus, or was this a Galatea that you had to keep chipping away at
Well,
until you're yeah, there it is.
I'm good, but I'm not that good. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I would say it definitely did start with kind of like a nugget of an idea, kind of like the mixing of sci-fi and fantasy, and then also I want to do a hero's journey story, but like told from the mentor's point of view, like think Star Wars from Obi-Wan's perspective, and then from there it kind of grew out because I looked at like all of these stories and like the mentor's role in the stories, and mentors are always defined by their backstories. And so I had to create a really detailed. And if I had a mentor that was the main character, I had to really like flesh out the backstory, know exactly what happened, know all the motivations to really get into the heart of this book. And so, because I like put a lot of work into the backstory, that in itself informed the story I was going to be told. So, like, eventually, the story kind of molded into an exploration of choice, redemption, and the betrayal of self.
So do you take does your approach to adventure storytelling, do you subscribe to the whole Joseph Campbell hero's journey thing, or you just let the story tell
Oh, this
itself?
is this is definitely in the hero's journey mold, um, but I'm doing it from the mentor's point of view, and
Okay.
basically the main character has to escort the chosen one around, and the chosen one is an insufferable brat.
That's an interesting approach because usually you get the point of view of the chosen one in the story.
Exactly, and that's the whole point.
This would be
Like,
like Star Wars being told from Obi-Wan Kenobi's point of view the whole time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying a little bit earlier. Like, you know how in episode 4, the actual Star Wars, Luke's
Yeah.
kind of like an annoying little twerp. Imagine that cranked up by a factor of like I'd say 2.5, and then also he doesn't get the benefit of being the main character, so he doesn't get whitewashed as much. So you experience the full annoyingness.
I've only seen that happen in one other book, and it was a Peter David novel. called
Hmm.
Sir Apropos of Nothing. And it was when the side character of the story realizes that he's the side character and decides to take over the lead.
Oh
And it was
wow, I
it
like
was
it.
a real eye opener for an approach for a book. And it was like it went into three different books. So it was Peter David
Yeah, I'm
knows what he's
definitely
doing.
trying to go for like the familiar yet different kind of route where it's like, okay, I recognize a lot of these tropes, I recognize a lot of these setups, but it's being done in a new, interesting manner. Okay, I'm going to read this and I'm going to like it. That's kind of basically what I'm trying to do here.
So is your approach here one with since he's a brat and you've got a put upon mentor here who's the lead of it. Do you put in pretty much because you put in humor into your other books, into your comic books.
Hmm.
Is this a humorous sci-fi or is this more Blade Runner sci-fi? You gonna keep it, real gritty and serious the whole time?
Uh, it's it's not a joke fest. Like it's not a comedy. Like there are
It's
more.
unfair to ask this because you do have a lot yet to go. This is a next year project.
I mean, the first draft is done, so like the bulk of a lot of the
Good.
work has been done. So like the beginning, middle, and end, it just needs editing, which is why I'm doing this in the first place. But we'll get to that in here in a little bit. Um, I don't know, like if I guess as far as tone wise, I would put it like Star Wars, the classic trilogy, almost where it has its light moments, it has its dark moments. I mean, this stuff can get really dark. There's raw emotions, but it's not, and there's some quips, but I
Uh,
don't know.
The tagline for Lost Kingdom is that it's a fantasy novel set in space. Why the big long space? Was that an echo that is being implied there? Or
I mean, I was trying to do like the Lost in Space thing. It was more for like flavor, personality, um, because that is my goal here. Is I want to tell a fantasy story in it set, but set it in space.
okay,
Um, like
so
like really do the sci-fi fantasy thing.
so what makes it fantasy? I know that Star Wars is often described as it's space wizards, because the
I
Force
mean,
was like
George
this
Lucas
magic.
himself describes the story as space fantasy.
Yeah. So what elements of Lost Kingdom make it fantasy? Is there a magic element? Is there some sort of
It's the setting.
what else would make it?
So
There's
when
the
you're on
setting.
the ground, it is very fantasy esque. So like you could be in a space station, but it looks kind of like a 16th century town kind of
Ooh,
thing. There's inns, and then also like a lot of the like the ships are named after animals. Like kind of give you an example. There's a sequence where Juice and his co-pilot are being chased by a pair of wyverns in the atmosphere of Mercury. The planet Mercury. And
okay.
by wyverns, they're they're basically Imperial fighter planes that are shaped kind of like dragons, and they shoot fiery plasma balls from their cockpit, and they're called wyverns because they look like dragons, but
Yeah.
um,
Okay, I get it. Sort of like I don't know what you would call that kind of a genre. Medieval punk. Um,
kind of. And then there's these things called enhanced life forms, or elves.
okay, I get it. And what is an enhanced life form? That's not like an android or something, but
No,
cyborg.
kind of think like with Wrath of Khan, like his people where they're genetically modified to be perfect. They're kind of like a military experiment to create like this race of beings. And they kind of stopped it, and then all the other like the ones that kind of escaped blended with society, kind of thing.
So it's a sci-fi story, but there's going to be a lot of elements that have fantasy analogs. So you've
Yeah,
got
like
your
like there's kings and
dragons.
like for example, Juiced is the former head of the royal guard. He's basically like Jamie Lannister kind of thing. Um, like the night the capital fell to the usurper Elric, instead of standing and dying as he should have, he left in the royal starship.
Okay. So it can be sort of like Game of Thrones meets Dune, which would be
Uh,
interminable if that happened.
Game of Thrones meets Star Wars is probably the better analogy.
Okay. And,
Because
and you know, Star Wars
I
had
was
kings and
definitely hitting the
queens.
Star Wars minds with this novel. But Game of Thrones, yeah, basically Star Wars meets Game of Thrones. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. So to ask the big question that we just said couldn't be answered with a dumb measurement, how big is it?
It is 84th. So the first draft, like I said, is done, and it is 84,000 words, which, to my knowledge, is roughly between 200 and 300 pages.
Yeah. That's I was always trained in my college lit classes that a novel was 100,000 words, and anything less was a novella.
Well, technically speaking, anything over 40 is considered a novel, but that's
Now, yeah, there's. I remember I went to college back when they were just inventing colleges, so you know.
but the thing is,
Yeah.
I initially started writing it like the first 4 chapters were written like 2018 ish, and then I put it off. And then when COVID happened, I put it back up again. Then I finished it. So the first 4 chapters are kind of wildly different from the rest of them. Like when I came back, I kind of got more flour with my words, and so the word count ballooned.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go back and rewrite chapters 1 through 4, and so like the word count up balloon on that. And plus, I have a couple more sequences I want to add. So I'm hoping to get the word count to be about 100K, and knowing what I want to do, it shouldn't be too hard to get it there.
Have you had to go through the well? You haven't had to go through an editor yet. That's part of the reason we're having the crowdfunder. Is so
Yes, I do have an editor.
But he hadn't done anything yet, right? I mean, or has he done it and you're going to pay him later?
He's done an initial look through of the book to kind of like see where things are, and he does like what he sees. Obviously, there's stuff we need to work on. But as like the initial like take on it, it's a very good place to start from. That's basically kind of the impression he gave me.
So you haven't had to go through the painful process of taking the red pen out and killing your darlings, as the expression goes.
No, that comes later.
Yeah, it will come, and it's not fun.
Oh, I'm dreading it, but it must be done.
Well, we've mentioned a couple of times that it is a Kickstarter, so let's take a look at the project here. You are needing $1,500, which is really a modest goal for getting this.
Yeah, like it's mostly just to pay for the editor. Like I was gonna go for 2,500 to help kind of like pay for like books, but I decided to kind of kick it back a little bit to just the essentials. You know, just get the editor done, and then like the rest I'll pay for later if I have to. And dare I say, people have been showing up really well for this. Like we're almost done with week 2, and we're almost funded, and so I am very happy.
Yeah,
with how this is
it's
going.
right at the halfway point, and you only need $144 to hit goal. So
Exactly.
now, is this the proposed cover? Minus
That is the cover.
It is the
That
cover.
is
Okay.
And that was done by one of our favorite artists, Xevious.
I recognize the big X at the bottom here, and yeah, folks, the thumbnail for the video has nothing to do with the book at all. That was RJ playing around with like, I need something spacey, I need something Lost Kingdom-y. I made that all entirely up. Don't blame Nick for any of that crap.
Don't worry. I've been contacted by Bob Iger, D24. They're going to announce the Lost Kingdom as is going to take over Fantasyland.
There you go.
There you go. There's the exclusive.
Cyber up Cinderella's castle, and we'll be good.
No, yeah, actually, they're going to tear down Cinderella's castle and place it with King like Castle Shinkar. Oh god! I mean, look at with how they've devastated rivers of America. I would not be surprised if they did something like that.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I did notice when I read through the Kickstarter is that you're using the Sol system, and for those who are not, didn't take astronomy in high school, that's us. That's our system, the Sol system. Sol is the name of our star. So is this meant to be set here?
Yes, actually, it takes place in the 4000s, and in that time, Earth is a wasteland. Kind of think like Wall-E kind of Earth, and a lot of humanity has relocated to Mars, and it's kind of become like the new Earth. It is like the capital of the solar system, but also people have filtered out to a lot of the moons, like Europa, Io, that kind of thing. And there's outposts on places like Venus, Mercury. Um, but yeah, and they've even gone so far as starting to settle Alpha Centauri, which is our closest star. And there's
Yes.
a bunch of
A
space
ways
stations.
further out than Mars.
Yeah, 4 light years. Like doesn't seem like much, and in the cosmic space, it's actually not, but it is a long way. Just to kind of give people an idea, a light year is the time it takes. Is the time is the space light can travel in a year.
Yeah, 186,000 miles a second times however many seconds are in a year. That's
Yeah, it's long.
so this is so basically in the year 4000, people are gonna be looking back at this book and like, man, we were supposed to be on Alpha Centauri by now, and we're sitting here telling people
Where's my
not the
flying
usual.
car, Elon?
Where's my
Flying car? I don't want
That
no
that was always the
Cybertruck.
thing with the future,
Why
you
did
know,
the
the
set? Yeah, like I swear, if I ever get to
writers in
talk
the
to
50s
Elon
had such
Musk,
high hopes for us.
if I ever actually do get to talk to Elon Musk, I'm gonna say, "Where's my flying Tesla?" And he'd probably just have a good laugh at that.
He'd probably say, "You want to see my garage?" Because he's probably got one. Like, you're not ready for the flying Tesla yet.
Also, like, I can't wait for the hover conversion kits to come out. How many? I wonder how many people are going to put the hover conversion on their DeLorean.
Oh, on our skateboards at least. I just want a hoverboard.
I'll get.
Now there's a second.
I think I'll just buy. I'll just buy one from Mattel.
Yeah, that'd be good enough. I'm happy with the Hot Wheels that I've got. So is this a back cover? I didn't
Yes,
see if it was
that's
like
the
a
back cover.
wraparound. Okay,
Yeah, that's going to be the back
it's
cover.
very nice. You know, you're gonna have to kind of leave words up here in this extra space for the back cover blurbage. You've got to tell people what it's about.
Yeah, maybe farm some quotes.
Yeah.
Leave me the F alone, Stephen King.
Stop asking me for a quote.
I'm not gonna lie. I might actually like hit up some people and say like, "Hey, can I have a quote?" And if they actually respond, I'll put that as a quote.
Yeah. Like, I told you I'm busy, George R. Martin.
Or yeah, or like, blocked Neil Gaiman.
Yes. Can't talk now.
I'm sorry. Now I'm kind of curious. I want to see if I'm actually blocked by Neil Gaiman.
Everybody may be at this point. I'm not, curiously enough. I mean, you know, Neil and I have talked before. It's been a long time. It's not like he's going to know.
I am not blocked. Wow. I am not edgy enough, it seems.
You're not edgy enough, and you haven't really said crap about him specifically.
Sandman is the worst. Blocked.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Yeah, this is Schrodinger. She's new.
Oh, God. So it is both cute and non-cute at the same time.
Yes, well, she's got a sister running around here named Heisenberg. So yeah, they're both.
Please tell me that Schrodinger has a box.
Yes, she does. I'm shipping stuff, man. She got lots of boxes, and she's in all of them. She'll jump in a box. I'll go look at it. She's not there. What's that mean? She's in another box somewhere else. So, yeah.
Literally Schrodinger's box.
Literally. And you know, like I said, the other one is Heisenberg. So basically, I don't know what the cats are doing until I look at them.
Please tell me you have like a tiny Heisenberg cat hat that you can put on it.
Nope, I don't.
You need to do that, please, for the love of God. Get the Heisenberg hat and put it on your kitty, please.
A little pork pie, yeah. You got to get a little pork pie hat for the cat. Now I'm going to Amazon.
Like, you need to do that, please. I need it.
Pork pie hat for cat. Yes, it exists. So.
Oh my God.
It's I can't believe
and
it.
then maybe get like the Heisenberg shades or something, like little tiny Heisenberg shades.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah. Say
Oh
my name.
God.
Say my name.
Oh God. Just get imagine if you had like the little shades for the cat.
Yes, yes. I'll have to film her and me and just steal the audio from that clip. Where he's like, say my name.
I mean, do you want to make 10 million views, sir?
Yeah, it's the only way I'm going to get monetized again, I guess. So
If you post it on Twitter, you get monetized. See, I was trying to get monetized on Twitter for so long, and then I finally had a tweet go viral and get like 24 million views, and that's how I got monetized.
that's how many you got to get, huh? I knew it was a big
No,
deal.
it was 5 million in like 3 months or something, and at the time I was averaging like a million five.
This is interesting. I Okay, I don't know what happened here, but I was monitoring our live YouTube and I looked down and there's an ad showing. Like, when did that happen? I'm not getting ads. YouTube's taking the ads. Must have
Oh,
bumped the phone or something because it was trying to show Dragnet, the Dan Aykroyd version. I'm like, go away. Um, so going back to the campaign, um, you got two main characters. You got just Lamont, or is it just? I don't know how that E pronounces it.
okay. So this is probably going to be something in editing that I'm going to change it because his name is supposed to be Juiced Lamont.
Ah,
It's a play off of Juice Belmont,
yeah.
but everyone is really like going through these interviews. A lot of people are like Justin. If it's this confusing, I'm probably going to end up changing his name because like if it's confusing for people, I might as well make it easier.
You know, there's a way around that. You can get around early on. You just have somebody mispronounce it, and have somebody else say it. Orson Scott Card did this when he had a character named Achilles. Well, the thing is, the character wasn't named Achilles; he was French, and somebody called him Achilles, and the guy grabs him by the shoulder and says, "It's Achille. I am French," and from that point on, it's stuck in the reader's mind.
All right, I'll think about it.
If you like the name as your character, you want to keep it.
I'm
You
not
just
wed to
have an
it,
element
so it's just becoming more trouble than it's worth. So I might change it.
at least his last name's not Newton. It could have been.
Juice Newton.
Yeah, yeah, would have been bad.
Uh,
And now, what I find interesting here is like he's got pretty much a name that you could run into, maybe in Louisiana. Um, but the prince, the child here, 15-year-old, he's a little more than a child, but
mhm.
he's Orion. This is true, you know, star baby stuff here.
Mhm.
He's just as earthling as Justin is, right? Justin.
Well, maybe more Martian, but
He's a more Valentine Michael Smith.
yeah. I mean, there hasn't really been any Earthlings in over 1,000 years, if not more.
Okay, so are they from the same? I mean, we're all humans in this story, but
Yes,
we're on different
there are no
planets,
aliens.
right? We're all different, but we're all different planets now. So I guess cultures evolve when you have separation. You don't have that exchange
Like,
on a daily
for
basis.
example, Juice is from Titan, which that planet is kind of more upper middle class kind of thing. I mean, like I have like a whole like caste system of stuff. I don't really feel like going into it right now, but like, um, yeah, basically Juice family. I guess blue bloods would be kind of like the best way to describe them. You know,
Got it.
um, and like his father was like big in like the military kind of thing. Like his father is like a 5-star general that works for a defense contractor, makes really good money, and has like
Okay,
I have the Secretary of Defense on speed dial, that kind of person.
right.
And then Judas is trying to just live up to his father's name. Obviously, he enters the military himself, eventually getting command of the Shadowhawk Squadron, which is a squadron of like stealth fighters. They make like hit and run attacks. Basically an excuse for me to do Top Gun stuff.
Yeah, why not? You're
And
going to do a novel.
he eventually gets assigned to be a captain of the King's Royal Guard, which they're like the leaders. And eventually he makes his way up to be the Captain General, which is like I guess to use Game of Thrones terms, a Lord Commander kind of thing.
Okay. And at some point he screws up because that's, without getting into detail, but that is.
I wouldn't say screw up more than he fails himself, because as a member of the Royal Guard and as the Captain General in particular, he is honor bound to protect his king, the castle, and the family to his dying breath, or to the best of his ability, or whatever. And the usurper Elric, who is the king's bastard son, the night the capital falls, he flees because he's like, oh, it's a lost cause. He's gonna win anyway. And ever since then, he's been racked with guilt, and he's basically been using anger and booze to compensate for it, and it's kind of poisoned his soul to a degree.
Elric, that's an interesting name out of fantasy.
Yeah, I basically just ripped off Dragon Quest.
Yeah, well, I figured, Elric of Melnibone or Melnibone.
I was more going for like the main character of like Eldrick or whatever from the first two Dragon Quest games.
Okay, the Michael Moorcock character doesn't have a K in it anyway, but it just sounds the same. And he wasn't an emperor; he was a barbarian. He was a warrior. So that's who's taken over is basically the Prince John of the.
Essentially, yes. And I will say one of the things I'm really proud of is this book kind of reads like a comic book to a degree. And what I mean by that is each planet is kind of its own story. Like, you know how in Knights of the Republic you can go to different planets and each planet is like its.
Nope. I don't know anything about Knights of the Republic.
All right, shifting gears.
I don't know anything past Empire Strikes Back, to tell you the truth.
All right, so each planet is its own story. So I have like groups of like 2 chapters each. Okay. And you're on a planet in a place, and there's a storyline there, but it also feeds into the greater story. Then you move on to the next place, and there's a group of chapters. Think of it like a comic book, where you have like one or two, between 2 and 4 issues per volume, but they all feed into a greater story.
Yeah. Sort of like the way Watchmen, chapters 1 and 2 were all about the comedian, chapters 3 and 4 were all about Night Owl, chapters 5 and 6 were all about Rorschach.
Kind of, yeah, in a sense. And so that basically, because when I wrote the novel, comic books are what I knew, so I kind of wrote it like I would a comic book. Or at least the story structure, I treated it like I would a comic book. So it makes for a really interesting read because it's segmented. Like it'll make for an easy, like if I ever decide to make a comic book adaptation, it's gonna be super easy to be like, all right, this is a book, this is a book, this is a book. It'll make it really easy.
There's nothing wrong with that. You've had the experience in writing the comic books now, so you know how to get punchy dialogue straight to the point, which is something that a lot of novelists don't ever get around to because they try to write that first 100,000 words in the first chapter because they know it has to be bigger, and they never get to the point. So I would expect, given what you've done with 2100 Samurai, given what you've done with Screecher, that by the end of chapter 2, we're deep into the plot.
Yeah, I mean, like when it comes to novelists, there's 2 extremes. There's the planner and the pantser. I don't know if you're familiar with that dichotomy.
I get the gist.
So I consider myself kind of somewhere in the middle. And so when I created this novel, I did a lot of like prep work, even to the point where it's like I had the basic story outlines, and I even had like, okay, in this chapter this happens, this chapter this happens, this chapter this happens. I mean, yes, there was some improvisation. Like I may have added some chapters here or there. Be like, okay, I need there's like they're at this point in the storyline. I need more material to kind of cover this part of the story arc. So that's how I insert a chapter there to kind of cover it.
I've got a spackle between these two action points here.
Or sometimes when you're writing a book, you're like, a plot kind of goes a different way than you thought, and you just kind of go with it. Or as you're writing, you discover certain things, you include them.
Sometimes the characters take over.
Like for example, I never planned to really develop Hugh's relationship with his father and how that impacted, or a lot of the story beats with some of Hugh's former love interests. And those are great discoveries to have.
It does flesh out the character. One of the things I used to do, and then because I read about somebody else doing it, I didn't invent anything. But with characters, to get to know them before I start writing them, is I would sit down and do an interview with them. I've seen people do this before since then. Since I actually told some of them how to try doing it, and then I would see them do it. But you sit down, you basically have 20 questions with Juiced, 20 questions with Orion. You just ask them basic stuff, and then you write down how they answer it in your head. And pretty soon your character is actually starting to take on their own personality and come to life in your head.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of writers say that there kind of comes a point where you stop writing the characters and the characters write themselves.
Yeah, if you fully, and it's almost, I want to think that the brain is multitasking. It's like, oh, we need a personality other than our own. Okay, well, we've got some spare storage in the side here. Let's start, booting up personality A.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, how it's like for other writers, but I know when I'm writing, I'm basically playing the story out in my head. Like, as I'm writing it, I have basically a movie going of the book in my head, or even comic book script, and I'm just kind of like putting that onto a page. So, like, when I'm when I'm like, let's say I'm writing a scene, it's in my head. I can see it. I can see like the whole scene around me, and I just put that onto the page.
The nice thing about a Kickstarter for a novel is because it's not graphic. There's not a lot of imagery to go with it. There's not a whole lot of tchotchkes going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I did try my best. To kind of include some stuff. I feel like I
mean, you could do something like bookmarks. You got the artwork for the cover. You could do a bookmark.
The bookmark, that's a stretch goal. So
yeah,
at $2,000, bookmark is the $2,000 stretch goal. But I also have stuff like, I have a collector's edition. You can get it signed, and then also like you can be a character in the book.
Now, this would be obviously you're not going to go write a new chapter to introduce a character. You've got characters that could be named anything.
Yeah, like there's lots of side characters that I could just like change the name of those people, and then maybe their descriptions to match the person if they wanted it to or whatnot.
So normally I see this priced at about $200, but again, because it's not graphic and you're just doing a name change, easy fix, easy do, $40. Get yourself named as a character in here, and you get a copy of the physical book and the digital book, which you're only selling for $5 here. So
yeah, like I get that I could charge more. I get it, but as a person who's been on the other side of things, I try to keep things as cheap as possible. I know I'm cutting into my own revenue with that. I get that.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I feel like I get more sales with something being a lot more reasonably priced than like is it better to get one person backing $100 tier or 3 people to back a $50 tier?
Yeah, exactly. That's an art too, finding that balancing point.
Oh, most definitely.
What we call it diminishing returns is the economics jargon for it there.
Mm.
But you can get the book itself, $20. That's going to be a paperback, and that's not bad. I sell a lot of paperbacks, and they're usually right at about $20. Give
Yeah,
or
I'm
take.
aiming for like a U.S. trade size. That's basically
Yeah,
what I'm looking at.
probably about a 6x9.
You're the expert, so I trust you.
Maybe even 5x8. But well, this this is trade paperback size, and I believe this is a 5x8 5x8
All right.
book. That's our first novel we ever did with another writer, way
Nice.
4 years ago. You can get it signed for an extra $10, and that's not bad. Again, we already talked about the character, and then you've got a collector's edition. So what's the collector's edition? Since this is different from the hardcover, because that's going to be an optional upgrade if you hit a stretch goal.
Yeah, so the hardcover is a $3,000 stretch goal. So the collector edition will have collector edition on the cover, and then also anyone who gets a collector edition will be listed in the special thanks section at the beginning of the book, and that's all versions. So even like the regular version will have the collector edition people listed as a special thanks. In addition to that, I'm going to produce a series of 4 concept art that is going to go into the book. And not only that, so at the $2,500 stretch goal, I'm going to do physical concept art. Anyone who gets a collector edition gets those for free. People lower will have the option to purchase them.
Okay, are you gonna have you're talking about art prints or art actually in the finished collector's edition book?
It finished in the collector edition book. The collector edition art might be in black and white, and then the prints will be in color. They might in the book they may be in color, but I'm not going to promise that because
I recommend against that.
Exactly, which is why I'm hedging my bets here. I'm not making any promises.
Yeah, because here's the thing, folks, about books. They're all printed on one printer, which means that if you have one page of color out of 360, you have a 360-page color book, and it's going to cost more to print.
Exactly. So they'll be in black and white, but when they in print form, they will be in color, and the collector's edition people will get those as an added bonus.
And if they're 5x8 like the book is, they can tuck them in the book just like book plates, and then it'll be just as good as being in them.
Exactly.
All right, so again, it's only halfway through, way more than halfway done. You're knocking on the door of completion.
Yeah, we're really closing the home stretch. Like, honestly, like I probably think in the next few days we'll probably be within double digits.
Yeah, I think you will be too. I think you'll probably be closed out. Well, let's see, $20 for the book. Let's just assume people get the normal, the base, and you're at 140. So you need seven people to back this book.
Yeah, and it's Thursday, and I know a lot of people were like waiting for payday or something.
Or 3 people to back the collector's edition. We can do that too. That'd be great.
Buy my book.
Yes. Now, of course, it's Kickstarter, so they're automatic refresh, so I don't have to refresh, but I can tell the number is not moved during this whole stream here. And I don't know what I can do to induce people to do this. If you like sci-fi, if you like space
maybe
battle
drop
stuff,
the link in the chat.
That would be a great idea, wouldn't it? Because there's the people who are watching on Twitter, and they're like, "What do you mean the link's below the video? I don't see the link at all." It's because you're on X, which is
I
where I'll probably be doing this a lot more often. So there it is. I'm going to leave it there for a second so people can pause, because guess what? All those A's are part of the URL now. Doggone it.
I didn't think that through.
like the Tyrannosaur in Meet the Robinsons. I got little arms. Somebody didn't think this through. So you got to count all those A's, or you could just search Lost Kingdom on Kickstarter, and I think it would probably come up. Let's just try it.
Okay.
Search. We'll see if Nick's been shadow banned. No, it's the very first thing that pops up because it's almost funded. Look at that green bar nearly at the end.
Look at that beautiful thing. Look at that beautiful thing.
90% funded. So you know what to do, folks. You go out to Kickstarter. You say, yeah, I want to read a science fiction novel about spaceships and basically knights and heroes and mentors, told from the unique
What
perspective
category
of-
are you looking under, sir?
Did I look under a category? I didn't. I just typed the name in.
Oh, okay. You just typed in Lost Kingdom. Okay.
I just typed in Lost Kingdom, just like so. And I hit enter, and right there, show me in all categories on Earth, sorted by magic. Really?
But what about the categories on Mars?
Can we? Well, you know what? They don't go out from Earth. It's apparently it's sorted by magic, sorted by popular. Let's see if it's a popular one. Is it the popular one? It's the popular one. So
How do you tell it's popular?
because I changed the sort from magic to popularity. Just like I could change it from popularity to newest.
I'm
you know what?
famous. I'm famous.
Sorted by end date, sorted by most funded. It doesn't matter. Oh, there you go. Okay, there's another Lost Kingdom. That's a different one. That's okay.
There's
we
a
lose
lot
you.
there's a lot of Lost Kingdoms. I should have gotten a better title, but hey.
Well, you know, there's so many Lost Kingdoms. You'd think we'd find a few of them by now.
Oh God, that is a dad joke. That is a dad joke.
I know. We're just tripping over these Lost Kingdoms. I wish they'd quit losing kingdoms all the place. They're like socks or keys.
Stop! It's time to stop.
You know, I've heard of the keys to the kingdom, but never the socks to the kingdom. It's just getting worse from here, folks.
I wonder if there'll ever be a Lost and Found Kingdom. Oh God, now I'm doing it too.
The Found Kingdom. Hey, yeah.
That will not be a title of a future book. I'm confirming that will not be a title of a future book.
Isn't that what Columbus basically did? I found a kingdom. Hey, it's ours. Well, I found it.
Oh, watch what you say, because Columbus is a dirty word among certain people.
No, that's why I don't care.
But
I actually went and changed. I do care. I actually went and changed shirts before this show because I realized I had on a political shirt. I'm like, you know what? Let's not isolate potentially half of Nick's potential audience here.
Thank you.
Wearing a shirt. Think about your customers and your clients and your friends here.
Thank you.
So I did that. And I'm not even going to tell anybody what it was, but you know, if they Google my Twitter history, they can probably figure it out.
Yes. Please Google his history. Critical Blast has too many customers. He needs to lose some.
Yeah. Yes. I wasn't thinking about my customers. I was thinking about yours.
You need to lighten this man's load. Check out his Twitter and get all pissed off.
There you go. And if that doesn't piss you off, go to my Facebook. That's really a mess over there. So folks, you know, do what Heisenberg wants you to do here, and you know, go out and back this book. It's a moral imperative at this point.
I guess you can say Lost Kingdom is cooking.
It's the cat's meow.
It's pure
delivery date on this. I forgot to look. I'm sure it's over here somewhere. It's an estimate.
Next summer. That's basically what I'm shooting for. Is next summer.
Okay. Yeah, because
I know I'm gonna have to do a couple drafts of writing. The plan is, since I have the first draft done, I'm going to be releasing it to the backers at the completion of the campaign, and then with each new draft, I'm going to be sending it to people and allowing them to give feedback. So essentially, I'm making my backers beta readers.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same. There, they're slush pile editors now, which is
it's kind of ingenious when you think about it, but still,
yeah, like we're writing this book.
So yeah, like I said, so even as low as the digital tier, you will get all the drafts, and you will have the opportunity to provide feedback, and I will read your feedback, and I will take it into consideration. You know, so yeah.
If he waits 3 days to respond to you, it's because he's like trying to get the word a-hole out of his head.
No, I'm doing their mom. That's why.
Oh, okay. That's different. Nick, thank you again for coming on. Boy, I said that we do these differently than comics, and it might not go as long. And here we are, full hour.
Well, it's my
That's
fault. I'm a talker, so.
No, that's good. I don't have to that way. Plus, I got to sober up halfway through the show, so I feel a lot better now. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I'm going on drunk. I didn't mean to get drunk. It was only one glass of wine. What the hell? But I'm better now. It processed out of my
You're
system.
such a lightweight, sir.
I am, really, I am. I mean, when I drink, I have beer, but I never have more than one at a session. And the last time I had wine, I got 3 bottles of it over here, and I was like, you know what? It's about damn time I opened one of these up instead of just collecting them like comic books.
I mean, people do collect wine like comic books, so.
They do. And I'm not one of them. And the thing is because there's a local winery that I drive past all the time, and I like the people who work there, and I go in and I talk, and I'll get like a flight of wine, which is just, a little wooden tray with like 5 little tiny glasses of different flavors. And I'm trying, like, give me a bottle of that one. And I take it home and I put it in the wine rack. And every month I go in and I turn the thing like, like clockwork. Because I don't know why. It's just what people do. But today
I think it's kind of important for like preservation of the wine or something.
Yeah, I didn't even use my Critical Blast wine glass, which I have. I have one. A regular little wine glass.
When are we getting Critical Blast Branded wine?
Let me work with Sticker Mule on this. Because right now you can get Critical Blast hot sauce if I so chose to do so.
I mean, you said you're friends. Well, the thing is, you said you're friends with a winery, so why don't you work with them to create a special edition Critical Blast winery?
Well, because shipping of alcohol is something I don't want to get into. I'm sure.
Well, that's why you make it $100 a bottle.
This is true. But the Critical Blast wine glass is like 3 sizes the wine glass. And the last time I drank wine was out of it. It was New Year's Eve. It was on somebody else's stream. We were just drinking and partying up until midnight. So I filled it to the top so that the white logo on the glass would show and, really pop against the red wine behind it. And when I filled that glass up, I looked at the bottle and there was like 2 inches of wine left in the bottle. It literally took almost the whole bottle. I'm like, well, I'm not going to put this back on the shelf now, am I? Just drink it down and then refill it.
You were plastered.
I drank the whole bottle of wine on that show, and
oh my god,
it turned into karaoke, and it was awful. In the best possible way, it was awful.
Please tell me that video has been preserved for all time.
It might be. I don't know. The guy takes his streams down a lot, so it was a frog stream.
I hope this isn't lost media.
I hope not. I hope it. Yeah, actually, I hope it is. It's not lost. It's just buried under so many strata of other videos that the guy makes that you'll never research.
I don't know. I like the idea of Critical Blast being critically drunk.
Critically blasted. Yeah.
Critically blasted. Yes.
That was what I was. All right. Folks, thank you all for popping in tonight. I do want to remind you the link, if you didn't pause it before, pause it now. Screenshot this so you can type it in. If you're on YouTube, or if you can know how to get to YouTube, come over to YouTube, hit the Critical Blast channel. Nothing special at it. It's just YouTube/Critical Blast. You'll be right there. Hit the link, go to the campaign, and reserve your copy of Lost Kingdom.
Yes.
And with that, Nick, we're going to close things out. We appreciate everybody who's watching here tonight on X and on YouTube. Both the places we're simulcasting. That's a big word, isn't it? And we're glad you're here. And while you were here, as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night. I'm going to go finish that bottle and pass out.